Good morning, Boquete. Good morning, Chiriquí. Thank you for joining me on this lovely Saturday morning. You are listening to Talking with Your Doctor. I'm Dr. Shannon Tour, coming at you here on Radio Chiriquí live. 103.3, 103.3. Hi, Cynthia, if you're listening. Today's guest, well, as everybody knows, or everybody that was listening yesterday, we're doing a two-part series on vaccines.
Yes, we are.
With Al Stefanelli from Boquete Now.
Hola. Buenos dias.
Hey, Al, did you know that worldwide there have already been 1.8 billion vaccines for COVID given?
That is a third of the, almost, the world population is what, 3 billion or something, 3.5?
Where's Day when we need her?
I know. Where's our stat lady? Now I gotta Google that.
Yeah, Google that.
All right, let's see. World population, right?
Yeah,
the last time I looked, it was like 3 billion, but during the pandemic, a lot of people were, doing some hanky-panky, so, there might have been...
Now we've added to the population.
World population, 2021, it says here, 7.9, wow, 8 billion people, so it was what, 1.8, so that's...
Almost 2 billion, so that's what?
Yeah.
Do quick math.
That's 23.8763992% divided by pi times cookies. It's a lot of
Oh, I like
vaccine.
cookies. I like
cookies too.
Cookies get you in trouble, though.
They do. But you know what, though? Sometimes trouble is good.
Sometimes it's good. Ah, yes.
We're trying to... apparently we're muffled.
We're muffled.
So,
less muffled?
Let's... maybe we could enunciate a little more clarification.
Yes.
I just made that word up, by the way.
That's good, because I like that word. So...
It's the masks.
At least 209 countries and territories have administered more than 1 billion doses of a COVID vaccine between the different types of COVID vaccines.
COVID vaccines, yes.
Let's see, what else? What other stats do we have here?
Here's a good one. In the United States, there have been 285 million doses, right? That's about half the population, from December of 2020 to up to May 24th, a few days ago. Out of those 285 million doses, there have been reported 4,863 deaths directly related to the... It's statistically...
Tiny.
Non-existent. It's
Tiny.
1/1000th of 1%.
It's not tiny to the people that lost a family member.
Obviously it is not.
But considering how many deaths, over 500,000, how many, over 600,000 in the States?
Yeah.
Due to COVID itself.
Due to COVID itself,
yeah.
Yeah,
so it's a minuscule amount of deaths compared to how many people the actual virus is killing.
It died of COVID, yes.
31 million doses are being given worldwide per day.
Nice.
31 million.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of injections. Yeah, per day. Here in Panama, and I looked up these stats, and let me see if I still got them on here. Did I send them to you?
I don't think so.
No.
I don't think so. This is where we're both like, if you're watching the
video, yes.
We're like, this an old married couple at a restaurant just staring at our phones.
Okay, so here in Panama, as of May 27th, what's today, the 29th?
Today is the 29th.
So as of 2 days ago, 15.2% of the population has received a vaccine.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
And of those, 8% are fully vaccinated, meaning they've received their both
shots, yeah.
doses. 7.3% are partially vaccinated, have received the first dose.
The first shot, yeah.
Yay, Panama.
Yeah, and considering what it takes to get vaccines here, administered here, not every place is like a big city where you have accessible roads and condensed population. Once they get through with Chiriquí, with Boquete, and then the other cities, they have the daunting task of getting out into the mountains,
into the wilderness,
into
basically.
the wilderness,
yeah,
to get these vaccinations out.
I mean, when you compare it to some place like Bulgaria, Russia has only fully vaccinated 8.1% of their population.
Yeah.
Finland, they're doing pretty good. 8.7% has been fully vaccinated, and 35% have received their first dose.
Yeah.
So they're doing pretty good there too. But for such a little country with the logistical problems, nightmares that it has, we don't even know the exact population of Panama right now because of the census.
The census, has not been
since
completed.
what year? I don't even remember what year.
It's been. I think they do it here. I'm not even sure how long. I know that the last one fell in the pandemic.
Yeah, it was planned then, and I don't think they ever
got around to it.
Yeah, couldn't do it.
Yeah,
couldn't do it. Would have been in perfect time because everybody would have been home.
I know, right?
But anyways, today's show is not just how many vaccines have been given, not just how many adverse reactions, how many deaths, which are quite minuscule compared to the amount of doses given, as we can see.
Right,
I mean, 1.8 billion doses given worldwide.
That's a feat.
It is a feat. It is a feat. I don't even know how many infections of COVID there have been worldwide. That's a good thing to look up.
Oh yeah, while you're chatting there, I'm gonna quickly. This is how you prepare for a radio show. You do it while you're on the air.
While you're on the air, yeah. So I mean, these questions come up, and that's what Google is great for. But we do need like a third person here that just does that.
Yeah, an engineer maybe. Excuse me.
We do have an engineer. Good morning, Bolivar. Buenos dias. Good morning. He does a great job over here.
Yeah, he does. Absolutely.
So we've noticed that not only in our area are they just at the schools giving doses out, they're also busing people in that don't have a way to get to the vaccine.
Yes.
Or that just probably wouldn't have bothered otherwise.
Yeah.
They go around looking for them with a little bus and bring them down to the schools to get vaccinated. But the other interesting thing is they're also going door to door. Now, yes. I've seen that with the flu vaccine here. They'll give you the flu vaccine. They'll go around door to door. They'll do these vaccination campaigns, make sure that you got your flu vaccine, because not everybody's aware of what month you're supposed to go do it, or they just don't bother. Yeah. But it's kind of like peer pressure. They're there at your door. It's like,
yeah.
I got the shot.
And if they do come to your door, more than likely, they're still going to be, at this time, they're still going to be checking for your age.
Yes, they're going to be checking for your age. They're going to be checking if you're over 60, or a teacher or a pregnant woman, or a woman breastfeeding within like the first 6 months of life of the baby.
A breastfeeding pregnant woman over 60 who teaches.
There you go.
Guaranteed to get your jab.
Definitely. You might even get extra.
So I found some stats here from Worldometer. There are so far 170,250,685 coronavirus cases. Out of that, 3.5 million people have died. And that is, let's see, active cases, 6% are serious and critical condition, which is a lot more than the 0.0017 that have died from getting the vaccine.
If indeed it was a vaccine, because you can't always correlate it exactly to the vaccine.
Right. 98%.
Some of those people are already elderly people that could have been on their way out anyway. That's a bad way to put it, but
the death rate is sitting at 2%. So 2% of the worldwide cases are resulting in deaths. A significantly smaller percentage. I mean, we're talking in the 1,000th of 1%. Have died from the vaccine if you extrapolate it from the U.S. figures. So still, you got a way better chance of not dying by getting the vaccine.
Yeah.
Than,
and it has not caused, I've seen things on social media, it has not caused abortions in pregnant women, the vaccine.
Yes.
It has not caused blindness. It has not caused paralysis. These are things that are coming up for some reason.
Yeah, migraines, blindness, death, all that.
out of the billions of people, because it's billion.
It is.
It's over 1 billion now. I can't say that I've heard any of that reported.
No. Well, you know, I'll give you. Let's give an example, okay? And this is a hypothetical, not even a hypothetical. I'm actually just making this up. So this guy I know, former CIA, gave me a book, handed me an actual book that says irrefutably that the moon is made of green cheese. This is proof positive. Now, you won't find this book in a library because everybody knows the library is part of the mainstream research industry and cannot be trusted. See how that sounds?
Yep.
It doesn't sound, for lack of a better word, logical.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a lot of misinformation. I know we covered a lot of that yesterday.
Yeah, we did.
But,
we did. And we don't want to cram it down people's throats.
We don't. But really, seriously, just it makes me feel good that people want to do research.
Yeah.
Okay, that people are still interested in digging around for information. It's the sources of the information that people use to research that can be disturbing.
Because they claim not to trust mainstream medical publications. They'd rather not trust medical experts.
The New England Journal of Medicine.
Yeah. Or there's a few really questionable doctors out there.
Yeah.
That might fall into this as well.
Sure.
Just because of their own personal beliefs and preferences and that kind of thing. But it's really there's no cover up going on out there. I know many people that have gotten the vaccine over the last months, and nothing, no side effects, no third eye, no tail.
Right, third eye would be handy in the back of the head.
In the back, yeah. Especially when you're backing out of those tight.
I know.
Yeah.
But seriously, though, I know it's very easy to be misled, given the propensity of information that is being posted on social media. That's been a recurring problem for a while on a variety of different topics.
Oh yeah, not just this.
And subjects.
Not just this.
The only advice I could give is just be careful of where you're getting your information from. Just if you use common sense, you will be able to figure out, hey, here's this one doctor on YouTube talking about such and such. You do a background.
America's Doctors. What was that? America's Doctors.
Yeah, America's somewhere.
That team they formed.
If you're going to check out the information, well, check out the source of the information too. If you've got the ability and the desire to go down that spider hole, continue. Use it broadly.
Yeah.
This is the information that I've been given, whether it makes sense to you or not. Look at who is giving the information. Look at where the information is coming from. And if it's a website, you can easily find out who owns the website, who funds the website, and who sponsors the website. And then you can see what their agenda is. And this is how you do, your drill down research.
I mean, all the places that I get my research from, they don't only give the good, they give the bad too.
Give the bad too. Yeah.
I mean, they don't hide the fact that people have had some serious side effects from getting the vaccine. They don't hide that there's probably been a few deaths associated with the vaccine. They don't hide that. That's all there. That's all written. That's all reported.
The good, the bad, the ugly.
That's getting investigated as people go along. But the reality is that those side effects are not going to kill you.
Right.
The side effects are usually temporary.
Yeah, and
they're not for life.
And most of them are mild.
And most of them are mild.
Soreness around the injection site. Maybe you might feel a little fluish.
Yeah.
Or maybe some congestion or what have you. And
that's your immune system kicking in.
And that's par for the course for almost every vaccine you get. It's not just because this is the COVID vaccine.
Right.
When you get a flu shot, sometimes you get some symptoms. When you get MMR. When kids get their
they'll
MMR,
get a little bit of fever and that kind of thing. That's just the immune system kicking in, doing its job.
Yeah.
That's nothing bad, and it's usually very, very short-lived. You know, there's no zero risk anything.
Well, no.
None of the medications you take are zero risk.
If you want a guarantee, buy a toaster.
That-
But yeah, you know,
I don't know what to say to that.
Pop-Tarts.
Yes, good.
But you know, it really, you know, there's a trying to shuffle through and disseminate the information that comes through on social media can be very daunting.
Yeah.
And you know, the news feed, your feed on social media, particularly Facebook, is going to show you the things based on what you have been looking for. So you're not actually getting unbiased information. Right. And it doesn't matter what side of the worldview or ideology you have, whatever that may be, that's the information that's going to be fed to you.
Yeah, it doesn't matter which search engine you use either.
Yeah. So,
it depends on the keywords that you're searching. If you're searching for vaccine death, vaccine illness, vaccine injury, you're going to find a long laundry list of sites.
Yeah. So, you know, research has a very definite, a very specific definition. It has a very definite set of protocols on how you are to complete research, or how you to begin and continue through and finalize your research.
Yep.
And these steps and protocols are in place specifically so you get the most unbiased and accurate information. So if all you're looking at are sites that agree with your opinions, you're only going to get half of the information. And
I've done research expecting to find one thing, and I find something different.
Something else.
Yeah.
Something completely different.
That proves me wrong, and then
It's just really important, you know. Like I said, I think it's fantastic that people are wanting to get, you know, information. They want to be informed. There's not a thing wrong with wanting to be informed. Yeah. Just please be, you know,
and be
aware
nice to
of
each
your
other.
Source of. Yeah, well, yeah.
I've seen a lot of bad stuff.
I know. There's people shaming people for getting the vaccine, people shaming people for not getting the vaccine, and it just degenerates into a flame war.
Yeah. Be nice,
and
people.
Nobody gets
be nice
information.
To you.
Yeah, you know, but
if you want to get your vaccine, don't pay attention to those that want to say, well, that was stupid of you. Don't you know this can happen, this can happen. Just, you know.
Do your thing.
Yeah.
You know,
do your own thing. You don't have to talk about anybody else. I know that they're putting it out there on social media, but that doesn't mean that you have to reply.
Yeah.
That's you know, that doesn't mean you have to be mean just because they're putting it out there.
Yeah.
They're putting it out there because they're happy.
Exactly.
They're happy either for not getting it or they're happy for getting it. Yeah.
You know, it is still in many countries is a personal choice.
Yep.
You know, it's not.
It's not being forced at the moment.
No, it's not compulsory. It's not a law. You have to get it. So while you're residing in a place that it's still a personal choice, then try to respect, if you can, the choice that your neighbors make. You know, obviously, my point of view, you know, is important to me. Mm-hmm. I think we should all be vaccinated, and I think that would accomplish the goal of herd immunity.
Yep.
Others don't agree with me, and that's fine. You know, I'm not going to get on social media and berate somebody for not getting the vaccine. I just won't. There's no point to it. It accomplishes absolutely nothing.
What is that?
I don't know.
I'm sorry, we're just listening to somebody going by. I doubt you can hear that on the radio, but it sounded kind of weird. Anyways.
God, my car is dirty. So was yours.
Shiny.
But yeah, and I know it seems like we beat a dead horse on this. You know, we've Shannon and I, you and I have done a lot of shows together. And,
we have.
And I know it seems like we keep saying the same things over and over again, but there are things that bear the necessity to be repeated.
Yeah.
And
not everybody tunes in every week either.
That's true. That's true.
Not everybody gets the full benefit of the Shannon and Al experience.
Shall. Shall we? We shall. But yeah, that's a good name for a show, right?
Yeah, that's a good name.
But
apparently, we're not focused.
No,
we must focus.
That's the nature, and that's probably my fault because the nature of my show, Boquete Now, on Radio Cherokee 103.3 every Friday from 10 to 11, is basically a conversational community radio show. You know, it's not. You
Yeah.
know, it's not investigative journalism.
No, no, and that's not what we're doing here either.
No.
We're giving a few facts there, and we're just trying to have some fun and,
Yeah.
and enlighten people.
Enlighten people.
Enlighten
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
And of course, anytime I'm wrong, I'll put it out there that, oops.
And you know, look, that happens to all of us. You know,
Yeah.
I'll get information literally directly from Mensa, and then it's 2 days later.
And they changed.
It's changed.
Yeah.
And I won't get the change information. It'll be thrown on the cassette,
Mm-hmm.
and someone will point it out to me. Hey, you posted this 2 days ago, and I
you were
read
wrong.
and they'll say, hey, you know what? This information was accurate 48 hours ago,
Yeah.
but things have changed, and
Yeah.
here's a translation, and blah 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 blah. Because our goal is to get the most accurate information.
Yeah, not to muddy the
out
waters. We're trying to get out the most accurate information that we have to date.
there. Yeah.
To date. And the stats are one thing, and then of course other people's experiences and what they experienced during the vaccinations
Sure.
is also another way to get information out, because they might tell us one thing is going to happen, but then everybody goes there and they see it's completely different.
Yeah. Well, you look at, okay, the majority, the vast majority, I would have to say most people, statistically, almost all people that have gotten the vaccine have had no adverse reactions.
Yep.
All right. But there are those who have.
Yeah.
So if you get your vaccine and everything's hunky-dory, right, and you post on Facebook, hey, I got my vaccine, I'm happy about it, a little sore, you know, but overall I feel good. Great, thank you for that information.
Yeah.
If you go and get your vaccine and you have an unpleasant reaction, and you go on Facebook or Twitter or whatever and say, hey, I got my jab and I got my fever spiked and I was in bed for a week and I was throwing up or whatever, that's terrible. Okay, nobody wants that for
Yeah.
anybody.
That sucks.
But that is not indicative of what is to be expected.
Right.
So if you
And
take,
it's not to
yeah.
say that it's a bad thing. I mean, yeah, you were in bed for a week. Did you die?
Right. But you didn't die, did you?
Yeah. Did you
know,
die?
but to come out and say you shouldn't get the vaccine because this happened to me, it's disingenuous, because what happened to you is a statistically non-existent. You know, 1.8 billion people get the vaccine, and 100,000 of them have fevers and they throw up and they're in bed. It could happen to you, yes. So if that happened to me, I would be inclined to get on Facebook and say, hey, I had a bad reaction to this. I was sick for a week, but don't go by my experience,
Yeah.
because I'm in the minority. I'd
Yeah.
still say you're probably not going to have that
Yeah.
reaction.
I mean, I was in the minority. I did have a reaction.
Yes, you did.
But it wasn't for more than a few hours.
Right.
It was hours, not days, not weeks.
Yeah.
It went away. It wasn't permanent.
And we want to know how you're doing. If
Yeah.
you get on social media and say, "Look, I got the vaccine. I was sick for a week. It was terrible. I felt like I was dying. It was horrible. But now, it's 10 days later. Here's an update. I'm doing great. I feel better. I'm still alive.
Yep.
Right.
I'm still alive.
I don't have a third arm or anything.
Yeah, yeah.
So So if you're going to report a negative, let us know how you're doing after a week.
Yeah, exactly.
You
We
know?
want to know that you're still with us.
Yeah.
And that nothing major happened, that you got better, and there's some people that have reactions like that to medications, not the fever and the chills and that kind of thing, but headaches, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea to certain medications. Some people have those reactions. Short-lived, don't kill you, and in the end, probably not as bad as the illness that you're being treated for.
Well, we've all been sitting in front of our TVs, and a medication commercial comes on, and it's a 1-minute commercial, and it's 10 seconds of, hey, here's the medication, here's what it does, and the rest of the commercial is a litany of possible side effects.
Do not take if you have
might cause yada yada yada. Your
Contact your
shoelaces will come
doctor
untied or
if
whatever.
yeah.
And that is the case with every medication, because every medication and every treatment
Tell your doctor if aliens
Yeah.
land on your roof.
has got a
Yeah.
risk factor.
Yeah,
And you have to make the decision: is the risk worth it to me?
exactly.
You can go and look at the risks for the COVID-19 vaccine, and you'll see it's posted everywhere.
Yep.
These are the possible side effects.
Yep.
Is it worth it to me, or not worth it to me. There are many medications out there that have a lot worse possible side effects, but people are taking them by the billions.
Yeah.
Like Viagra.
Yeah,
You know,
they don't
no
ask.
one cares. You know.
Yeah,
hey,
they don't ask about that.
No, they
I
don't.
prescribe an antibiotic, and most people don't ask me about the side effects for an antibiotic. Or I prescribe a painkiller. They don't ask me about the side effects from the painkiller.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's no different. It's no different. The medication or a vaccine, both of them have their risks, both of them have their benefits, and both of them can have their possible
Right.
side effects.
So you weigh the risks.
You weigh the risks,
If
and you always
know-
should.
Well, yeah, and if you know that you've got high blood pressure, or if you've got a clotting problem, or if you've got, any medical condition that you feel from the information you got either from the manufacturer or from a government saying if you have this condition, you should be aware that you are more likely to have this side effect.
Right.
And then you make that choice. Obviously, if you have a heart condition, you're not going to take a medication that increases your heart rate, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
So if you have a condition that would be adversely affected by the vaccine, then by all means use your sense of knowledge of your condition, along with advice from your doctor.
I mean, there's so many people out there at the moment that are taking blood thinners.
Right.
You know, I would say 90% of the patients that I've come in contact with are on some kind of medication that thins their blood, whether it be aspirin, whether it be an actual blood thinner like warfarin, or any other type of those medications that are used to thin your blood some. The risk of any type of blood thinner, including aspirin, is prolonged bleeding.
Right.
Or if you hit your head, you have a chance that you could get a brain bleed.
Yeah.
Very small chances that these things are going to happen unless you're in a really serious accident. But those are there. But I don't see people saying, I'm not going to take it for my clotting disorder because, I could bleed to death. You weigh the risks.
You weigh the risks, yeah.
Bleeding versus getting a clot that's going to go into some part of your body and kill you.
Yeah, and the thing that is complicating that, and more, a lot of people...
Oh, and this had nothing to do with the vaccine, by the way. The AstraZeneca.
And that generally isn't an issue because most people have been on these medications for a long period of time,
Yep.
and they know the risks. And but you're not getting a avalanche of misinformation
Yep.
about antibiotics, about blood thinners, about aspirin, whatever. You're not logging onto your social media and being inundated
Yep.
with false information about medications that are widely used or are very popular with certain conditions like high blood pressure medication. So that misinformation is not affecting your decision.
Right.
This is not happening with the COVID vaccines.
Right.
There is so much misinformation that is causing a lot of people not to get vaccinated.
It's causing so much fear. It's causing a lot of fear.
Yes. And that, to me, is the primary thing that concerns me about people not wanting to get vaccinated. Again, it's a personal choice,
Yep.
but make your decision based on factual information
And your own
scientific
risk.
research
Yeah.
and your own risk.
Yeah.
Not your Uncle Eddie's.
Yeah, don't go by what people are posting online in their personal experiences, or people that post, I had 2 friends that got it and died after the first dose type of deal.
Yeah.
You have to look at where is this information coming from. It's coming from social media. Social media, as we know, is not the place to get accurate information all the time.
And it wasn't designed for that.
Yeah.
Social media, particularly, you even go back to when I started on social media with Friendster. Remember that way back when? And then MySpace and then Facebook.
I remember the MySpace. Yeah.
It was designed just for personal communication. To keep in touch with friends, and obviously,
What was that other messenger that I'm trying to remember? AOL? No.
AOL, Instant Messenger, you had MSN Messenger. There was a whole bunch. I remember back in the day, I had all these icons.
Yeah.
Because nobody was using the same thing. It's like today, right? So, what do we got today? We have Facebook Messenger, we've got Telegram, we have Signal, we have WhatsApp, WeChat, Line, and there's a bunch of
How
them
many
on
do you
there.
have on there?
I've got like 6 of them on here because I have customers that refuse to use any one or the other. So I have 2 phones with every conceivable messaging service on it. But
I'm going to start writing to all your little messenger services because I've got like 3 on there, so I'm going to really confuse you. No, but basically, yeah, the Facebooks, the MySpace, those type of things, they were used to keep friends
and
in
family
touch.
connected,
Yeah.
And obviously they've evolved into other things.
Yeah.
That's not a problem. Obviously, there's Facebook is very useful for businesses.
Yeah.
To promote and
Twitter
to advertise and all
and
that.
Instagram.
But
And
the prevailing thought of the day still remains, check your sources.
yeah.
And are they disinterested sources? Are the information that you are getting, does it jibe with accepted scientific protocols?
People used to go to their doctors for these kind of kind of information because the doctor is supposed to know the side effects to medications and safety of vaccines and medications.
Yeah.
Now they won't believe the doctors. They want to, I get a lot of questions after I prescribe medication. Not from everybody, but I'll get a couple questions. They'll start looking up the side effects and they'll say, "Well, I'm having these side effects." I'm like, chill out. Everybody gets a headache once in a while.
Diagnosing yourself on the internet should be an Olympic sport.
I'm not saying it's not good to be informed. It's always good to be informed. And when I prescribe a medication, especially if it's got warnings, I will list those warnings and I'll say why I think that medication is a good choice for that person despite the warnings.
Yeah, and that's your responsibility as a physician.
I have to make those tough calls.
It's interesting though. Over the last decade, there has been a real genuine concerted effort to discredit the mainstream media, not just the mainstream media, but mainstream the scientific information sources of information. And the result of this is now that there's like hundreds of thousands of websites that have popped up that appear to be legitimate, thanks to some very talented website developers. It's the content that you need to look at, though. Who wrote it?
Yeah.
Was it peer reviewed? Was it fact checked by legitimate and disinterested fact checking sites? Does it jive with universally accepted science? Has the information been corroborated? Does it include quips like "here's the untold truth" or "lies exposed"? Does
and do you have to go through a half an hour of listening to an infomercial before you get to the actual information that you're waiting to hear?
Does it denigrate, or maybe denigrate isn't the right word?
Criticize
internationally accredited institutions.
Right.
If you read something and says, well, the New England Journal of Medicine is full of crap.
Yeah.
Just scroll. Just scroll by.
Scroll on by.
If does it discredit scientists that have been, kind of universally accepted by pretty much the entirety of the worldwide scientific, community. And check your sources too. Who owns
who wrote it?
Who owns the website? There's enough crap out there.
And don't just take it for somebody else's word for it that certain websites or certain companies or certain whatevers are owned by like Bill Gates or,
Yeah, we could do a whole show on Bill Gates.
Oh, good old Bill. He doesn't realize the amount of influence he apparently has.
I know, right?
Yeah. Apparently he's into population control according to the stuff I've read, there we go.
This has been a public service.
Sorry about the siren. We have some visitors outside the station here.
But look, and I know I get pretty. I don't want to say emotional, but I've spent a good part of my adult life doing research as an investigative journalist and other various fields that I've worked in. And I know, just as you do, being a physician, what entails proper research.
Right.
And when you see that just obliterated in favor of basically, a comic from inside of a piece of gum, that comparatively, that's what it seems. And it's disturbing personally to me, because
Yeah.
I know that we can do better.
Yeah.
We can do better as a society.
And
In the interest of
you have to know how to interpret the information. I spent years in medical school learning to interpret data, learning to do research. A whole semester's worth of different research type classes, statistics too. Our education is multifaceted. We're not just one dimensional and it's only medicine. No, you've got statistics, you've got investigation classes, you've got, everything. It's not just pharmacology and biology and and those kind of things. No, you go through a lot of learning.
Learning to be a good diagnostician includes your education, but it also includes your real world experience.
Right.
And if you're a physician, or if you're any scientist really, you're going to learn what you learned while you're in school, and when you walk out of that graduation hall with your PhD in your hand, that's when the real world learning
Right.
starts.
Right.
And people who have spent many years boots on the ground, dealing with patients and dealing with research labs and dealing with, like you had said, interpreting data and working within the scientific community, they have a clue with what they're talking about, and they shouldn't be dismissed just because they are a mainstream scientist, or they are supporting.
We never stop studying.
No,
it doesn't. It's not that you can't say, well, you got out of school 20 years ago. What do you know? You know stuff that's outdated. No, we have to keep learning.
Well,
it doesn't stop.
The goal of science is not to prove something right. The goal of science is to prove themselves wrong.
Yeah.
That's what they're there for. They have an idea. An idea becomes a hypothesis. A hypothesis becomes a theory, and if it's strong enough, the theory becomes law. So the whole goal of science is to basically falsify their information.
Yeah.
They're constantly trying to poke holes in their
Not
findings.
falsify them information, but to prove it.
To prove it, yeah. They're constantly trying.
We don't falsify.
Anyway, they're constantly trying to poke holes
Yeah.
in their hypotheses,
Yeah.
so they can come up with a more solid and scientifically accurate theory.
It took me in conjunction with another doctor. This person had actually gone to several doctors. Ended up with me and another doctor on the case. Took us 4 weeks total to figure out what was going on with this patient. We had to test and retest different hypotheses of what could be going on. So it's not like we know everything. Just come into the office and bam, know what you got. Sometimes it takes a lot of research.
And there's a disconnect because in the vernacular, in the common language of the people, most individuals have a definition in their head of the word theory as a guess. I have a theory that the moon is made of cheese, but in science, a theory represents the best explanation using the available facts.
Right.
There's really no guesswork.
Right.
This fact, they have a whole list of facts, and then when they compare those and they study them and they recompare them and retest them and retest them. And
because you're trying to throw it out. You're trying to prove it wrong.
To prove it, you're trying to prove it wrong.
Yeah.
So when you've got, thousands and thousands of pages of irrefutable facts, maybe you don't have the whole answer.
Yeah.
But your theory is the best explanation using the facts, and the facts that science come up with are not taken lightly. If a scientist says, okay, this is a fact, you can pretty much bet that that's
Yeah.
you can take that
Because
to the
nothing
bank.
fits directly
No.
into any one box. Like
Right.
this particular patient did not fit
Yeah.
exactly into that box. Had enough positives, positive proof compared to negatives, to be able to say with confidence, yes, this is the
This is
problem.
what you have, yeah, and then you can offer a treatment.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm sure you still have to follow up on
You
that treatment.
still have to follow up because there is still that other part that hasn't been resolved yet.
Yeah.
You know, the part that says, okay, this did not match up with the diagnosis. What is
Yeah.
this? Why is this happening?
Well, this treatment only positively affected these symptoms.
Yeah,
but it
and
didn't-
not
it
every
didn't-
symptom.
Yeah.
I mean, there are so many variables. So the point is, it takes a lot of time to learn how to do research, investigative type research. And of course, science and medicine takes a it's really specific. So you really have to know how to do that kind of scientific investigation.
And science generally doesn't skip steps. We
Yeah.
talked about this yesterday because one of the prevailing myths is that the vaccination isn't safe because it was developed and distributed in such a short period of time, so therefore there wasn't the usual two-year. And I've done my research on this, and so I'm going to ask you if I'm correct on this. Is when a medication or a vaccine is developed during non-pandemic times, there's, say there's 10 steps.
Right.
Or you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and those 10 steps may take 2 years. But in an emergency situation, you might do step 1, 2, and 3 together, 4, 5, and 6 together, 7, 8, 9 together, and then 10 being the final one. That would shorten it to 6 months, 8 months. But all the steps are still followed. All the scientific protocols are still
All the
observed, and
yeah.
everything is done according to standards.
From what I understand is, I'm not sure if they overlapped. I didn't do that. I didn't see that. I didn't really research that part of it. But I do know that they completed all the steps.
Okay.
And I do know that they completed it within more or less the normal time frame to complete the steps. They were rushed. It could be that they overlapped. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm not. I would have to look that up. I do know the part that was really sped up was the FDA approval, because they have a lot of stuff to look at.
Sure.
Lots of information. Maybe we don't have the 1 or 2 years of use in humans to compare,
Sure.
but their process of any medication, any vaccine or anything, it usually takes them a year or two to
Right.
approve it.
Yeah. Sure.
That was the part that was more sped up than anything, was getting the emergency approval. Now they're still looking at it, and as far as I understand, I think it's Pfizer is the one that has applied for
FDA approval.
which we should find out pretty soon whether they get their full approval. Now that there's more data to go by.
Sure.
But yeah, it was a little bit accelerated, but all the steps, like you said, were followed.
All the steps were followed, and it would have to be, when you have an epidemic or a pandemic, I would guess that the reason for that speed up is because the
People were
infections
dying.
are spreading and it's growing and people are dying. And,
People were
and all
dying.
that. That doesn't mean that it's an experiment.
Yeah,
if you
this
wanna-
is
if
not
you-
experimental
if
anymore.
you want to really apply that word, all of science is experimental.
Yeah.
Because they're continually researching. They're still doing work on the polio vaccines.
Yeah.
Which polio hasn't been
Flu
around in how long?
vaccines,
Flu vaccines.
HIV
So,
vaccines.
everything is in a constant state
Yeah.
of, hey, we get new information, we need to re-examine. We get new information.
Same with
we re-examine.
medications. We get medications that we were designed to treat certain things, and they turn around and say, hey, but guess what? We found out it also works for this.
Sure. Look, I take gabapentin. Gabapentin was developed as an anti-epileptic.
Right.
Everyone who has neuropathy, almost 9 out of 10 people, are prescribed gabapentin because it is effective for that.
Right.
And that would be a good example of that.
Exactly. And, for example, Cialis.
Uh-huh.
Cialis was originally used to treat heart failure and and high blood pressure. we know that it's now used for erectile dysfunction as well.
Yes.
That it worked perfectly. That was kind of like a side effect of it.
Yeah,
The same with Viagra.
Yeah, and a lot. It's funny because a lot of these medications, particularly in that field, I know we can do a whole show on ED, but you don't see too many people really questioning the safety.
Yeah.
Or saying that there's some kind of an agenda, by the mainstream whatever.
By Pfizer with their Viagra.
They're so I guess it depends on what you how motivated you are to take any one medication.
I mean, remember, Pfizer didn't just develop the vaccine; they developed Viagra too, and nobody hesitates, right?
Right? Yeah. I know. That's funny. Again, we could do a whole show on
Yeah, I know. I guess we shouldn't though. Because that was not exactly what this show was about, but it is about.
Show though.
You're terrible.
I know, I'm a horrible person.
Yeah.
That dude is still staring at me.
Yeah, it's kind of freaky. You guys can't see this out there, but there is a mask on the wall, and the mask has like what is that on top?
I don't know.
What kind of bird?
I don't know what it is.
I don't know either.
Anyway.
Yeah, that's neither shiny. So anyways, the purpose of this show, and yesterday's show, was basically, since we're actively in the vaccination process for our area, is to kind of like try to remove some doubts from people's minds. Is it safe? For the most part, it's very safe. Very, very safe medication. Vaccination.
Yeah.
Very few side effects have been reported. Over a billion, almost 2 billion people have received their COVID vaccination. So compared to this COVID, which we want to get out of the COVID situation.
Well, everybody wants to end the curfews, end wearing the masks. This is not an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
You can't just say, all right, well, now a certain percentage of our population has been vaccinated. It's over. Let's just open everything up. That's not how the eradication of a pandemic works.
Yeah.
It took a while to get to this point. It's going to take a while to return to what we consider normal. Right.
It's not overnight. It's not because a few hundred people in our area have been vaccinated and all of a sudden we can all go out and just party.
Yeah.
Take off the mask, throw off the masks, and let's go. Still going to need to take the precautions.
Yeah.
This virus is not gone by any means.
No.
It's gotten better. The stats have gotten better.
It's improving, and that's how the eradication of
anything goes.
Yeah, especially an epidemic or a pandemic. You've got the world involved in this. And it's going to take a while to get back to, again, no one likes wearing these.
No.
Nobody likes the face shields on the bus. No one likes to have
and
to
you're
go through.
Still going to see little outbreaks in places.
Yeah.
You will. And just like with chickenpox, just like with any measles and that kind of thing, people still get them. There's still outbreaks. Ebola. There are outbreaks out there. Tuberculosis, this, that.
Yeah.
But to get closer to, it might not be eradicated, but at least controlled.
Yeah, that's a better word. For a while, some diseases were pretty close to eradicated. Because smallpox was almost non-existent up till about 20 years ago, and that started making a little
comeback. And in part, that's because people stopped getting boosters. People stopped, our lifespan is increased, so our vaccines obviously get weaker as time goes on.
Yeah.
So you do have to continue to vaccinate.
Well, look back in the 17th century and mid 18th century, the life expectancy for your average human was 52 or 53 or something like
somewhere.
that. Now we're up in the late 70s.
Yeah,
I think I could be even older.
Depending on the country and
But the older we get, obviously, the more we are affected by by disease and by other conditions. So everything is relative in that case.
Mm-hmm.
But you're still better off getting this vaccine
Yeah.
than not getting this vaccine.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be as common as getting the flu vaccine soon. We'll probably have to get a booster every year, probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
For a while, anyway.
Yeah. But that's okay, as long as we can cut down on the infections, cut down on the deaths caused by this virus. We're taking a huge leap forward.
Yeah.
And it's also, this research here is going to help us in future, because don't think that this is going to be the last time we're going to have an outbreak.
No, there'll be others. But the research that was done and the advances that were made, especially like we talked about yesterday, the use of the messenger RNA in a vaccine. If this happens again, if there's a COVID-22,
Yeah. I mean, obviously, we're hoping not.
we're hoping not.
We're hoping it's not going to be anytime soon, that it's not going to be anything as bad as we've suffered this past year and a half.
And it might not be, because now we have the knowledge on how to develop this type of a vaccine.
Yep.
So, if there is a COVID-22 or a COVID-23, now, okay, we have the basics down. We know how to, how to set these vectors up. And
get it, under control more quickly before it spreads around the world like that.
Pandemic stage, nobody wants that.
No, and I'm not saying there's going to be another one that's coming, but they do say this is not going to be the last pandemic, or at least endemic type of thing that we're going to have. So it doesn't hurt to always take your precautions. Once the majority of the population has been vaccinated, we're going to see things getting back to normal slowly. It's not going to be overnight.
And there are societal norms that may never come back.
Yep.
I mean, I've talked to countless people who now will probably never shake hands again. They'll do a bow or the namaste or a peace sign or whatever, but
buffets may never come back.
Yeah. Definitely, and that
sucks.
That sucks.
Yeah, I like buffets.
Oh my gosh, I love buffets, especially Chinese food.
Oh yeah.
Oh, man, that's
Yeah.
Wow.
Sad
Thank
to
you
think.
for that.
I'm sorry. I just
ruined my entire week.
I know. I'm sorry.
No, but there are things that probably shouldn't come back. People like ever notice that now? This whole year there have been almost no flu. Well, because for a year people have been wearing masks and social distancing and washing their hands and alcohol and all that stuff.
So much.
Good hygiene.
Less diarrhea, less vomiting, less
good hygiene
colds.
practices will affect a veritable cornucopia.
See, your mom was right. Wash your hands.
Right. See, and if you're not,
cover your nose and mouth when you sneeze.
Yeah, use your
your elbow.
Or whatever.
Yeah, because nobody shakes your elbow.
Yeah, but shaking hands, buffets, there are things that probably will never will or in a very limited capacity come back.
And I guess it just remains to be seen. We will see. We're definitely not out of the woods yet.
No,
not
don't
out of the
have
woods.
A false sense of security.
Yeah, do not relax your.
Don't let your guard down. That's the mantra from Mensa.
Yeah.
For the entire Panamanian government, don't let your guard down just because you see the numbers looking better. Don't let your guard down. This is not the time. It's like testing a parachute after you jump out of the plane. Don't.
It's like drinking that milk before you smell it.
And I always do that. I always smell the milk.
Yeah.
I always smell the milk. Yeah, I'm a milk smeller. My name is Al. I'm a milk smeller. But say that
Hi,
10 times. But yeah, it's don't let your guard down. Get the vaccine.
Get the vaccine. And anybody that's able to should try and get the vaccine. Yeah. Well, so that was the message for our show today.
That was the message for the show. Don't let your guard down.
Don't let your guard down.
Vaccine.
Wear your mask. Wash your hands. Socially distance.
Statistically, it's very safe.
It is.
And there's no agenda out there by conspiracy people who,
And nobody's making anybody do anything except for wearing a mask.
And there are no nanobots on the end of the swabs.
Promise. Yeah. So I guess that wraps it up. That's a wrap. Thank you for listening in. This has been Talking with Your Doctor on Radio TDK 103.3, coming at you live every Saturday morning. Have a great weekend, everyone. Oh, thank you, Al. Thank you, Boulevard.
Thank you, Veronica.
Thank you, Veronica. I always forget something.